All right, so this is Monday, May 1st, 2023. I thought I'd just make a little video, fill you guys in on how my day went. Just a few little details. Nothing really that interesting, but I kind of wanted to let my hair down a little bit. What hair I don't have any hair. I do on my face, and I can't let that down. But anyway, I wanted to take a little more relaxed approach to making a video today. Just because. I just want to mix it up. Just change things around a little bit, because that is what I require. I can't keep doing the same thing all the time. So here I am in my car. I haven't made a video like that in a while, but it's kind of nostalgic for me. You know, if you've been following me for a while, you know I used to make a lot of my videos in the car. Anyway, where I'm going with this is now many of you know that I work for a utility company, and one of my job descriptions is we disconnect people's power or water, depending, when they don't pay their bill. Now you have to understand, no matter how you feel about that, you have to know that a company cannot stay in business if it cannot be paid for the services that it has provided for somebody, right? I mean, it's just, if you have a cell phone, you have a contractual agreement to make a payment on that every month, and if you don't, you get shut off, right? Or that goes with anything else, your water, your cable, whatever it is. It's just a fact of life. And so a lot of people take umbrage to this. You know, they just don't seem to understand. And generally, most of the time, when you arrive on the scene, people will say 9 times out of 10, I already paid my bill. Well, that's just not the case, because by the time we get there, the past due amount is already like 45 days out. You know, it's been on the books for 45 days. In other words, you know, you got to take care of things. So anyway, a lot of people tend to get very upset, and I arrived at this account today. It was a commercial account, but it didn't look like any kind of business was going on there. Just nothing to note, nothing to indicate that business was actually being conducted. But there was a truck in the driveway, and so as I pulled up, I got out of my truck, and this man had rolled down his window. So that's a sign that he wanted to talk to me. So I kind of walked over to his door. He asked me if he could help me. I said, well, I'm just here to cut the power off for non-payment. Immediately, well, I already paid that bill. My bill wasn't due until the 28th, and I have another bill due on the 15th of May. Well, that may be the case, but this is probably not for either one of those. The ones you're talking about here probably have nothing to do with this one, my guess is, because there were several meters. And so he says, but you know, I don't understand how that could happen. And he was kind of nice at first, but he grew angry very quickly. Like, I could tell it was a real effort for him to be nice. Like, I could tell this is just how he is. This is how he conducts business, at least with me. And then he starts going off, and he's an older man, by the way. Let me just specify, he was a much older man, and he started going off on this little thing that people often do. Well, I've been a loyal customer for 40 years, and I said, let me stop you right there. And the reason why, despite how that sounds, the reason why I did that is because when people say those words, they never stop talking. And then you can't get anywhere. You're there. You could be there for 20 minutes for something that could take you just several minutes to take care of. So anyway, I said, let me stop you right there. I said, that has nothing to do with anything. This is just a matter of business. I said, when a bill is past due, when it's hit the 45-day mark, they send it out for a cut. And that's why I'm here. And then he immediately got very angry. It's not because of what I said, because I said it just like I'm telling you right here. And he's like, well, you know, the thing about you guys is you guys are abusing me, and I got solar in my house, and blah, blah. He went off on this whole tangent about solar, the solar services he's had installed in his house. And I want to know why why I'm getting charged for this and that and the other. I said, well, listen, I can't answer all of your questions, but you can call an energy auditor and they can come out and do a rundown for you, explain all of it in a very educated and articulate way. I'm sure you could benefit from that. And so he just continued to be angry and just unleashed this vitriol of scathing comments. Now, not to sound redundant, but I said, by that time I'd had enough. I said, okay, do you want me to cut it off or not? Because I really did not want to cut this off. I really wanted him to tell me, I'll go make a payment. By the way, if you live in a place where somebody actually comes out and physically cuts your power off, the nicer you are, the greater of a chance you have of getting that service worker to accommodate you. Okay, I'm just saying. All right. So I said, do you want me to cut you off or not? Go ahead and cut it off. Go ahead. You go ahead and cut it off because I'm not coming back. I don't even know what that meant. It's your business. I'm giving you an option. And I even told him, I said, I'm willing to leave you on if you can get taken care of. Well, I'm not getting it taken care of. I'm not, because I don't owe that bill. And he just was just going on and on and on. So I said, okay, well, his gate was locked. So I had to call in and ask them to send me a cut for the water meter instead. Okay. That's just another way of skinning the cat. So I called in. It took a little bit. It took a little bit of time. By the time I got back out of the truck, he was still sitting there, and he'd cooled down apparently. And he called me over, and he goes, he tried to talk nice for a second. I can't remember what he said. Then he stopped, and he goes, can just you and I have a reasonable conversation here? And I thought to myself, I'm not being unreasonable. But I didn't say that. I mean, what good would that do, right? I mean, obviously he knew he's being unreasonable. How can an unreasonable person all of a sudden flip a switch and become reasonable all of a sudden? I don't know. I don't know that they can really gauge that well. I don't even know if they know what that looks like. Anyway, so he's like, listen, I'm 81 years old, or I'm getting ready to be 81 years old here in another month, and I'm still working for a living. Well, ding, number one, that's one reason why he's upset. And I had all this solar energy equipment installed in my house, and I'm still paying just as much as I was before. Ding, number two, that's the second thing. So I told him, I said, listen, residentially, I think solar energy is either a scam or a ripoff. I don't think it's wise to do it. And I tell everybody that. I'm not saying that my company says I should say that. I'm just saying that I personally, but commercially it's a different story. So anyway, he's real upset about that. And by God, he wants answers. He wants answers right now. And I was just as kind to him as I possibly could be. I try to be understanding to him. And I think that's one of the most important things you can do when somebody's really upset with you is, regardless of how it feels or how it attacks your own ego or your own position, I think the best thing to do is just try to find as many points with somebody that you can be sympathetic with them on. So I've got to pause this for a minute because someone's pulling up on me and they're going to ask me a question. It's another old man. Okay, so apparently this individual was just scoping me out, making sure I wasn't going to bust into his business. I'm sitting on the side in the shade. Anyway, I don't need two grumpy old men today. So anyway, he had calmed down eventually and became a little more reasonable, which was his goal, I think. I don't think I told him what he wanted to hear, but he made the comment. He goes, when I was, he goes, I have a very short temper. I have a very short temper. And I was like, oh yeah, I can see that. And he goes, when I was younger, I used to be a lot more calm. I go, really? When you were younger, you were a lot more calm? He goes, yeah, I was a lot more calm, but I had a quick trigger finger. Well, that does not compute. That does not, I'm not understanding that whatsoever. So anyway, that's what he told me. So, I understand the man had some issues. I understand he has some plausible reasons to be upset. He's got a lot on his plate, and I can kind of relate to, as you get older, there are some things you become a little more quick-tempered about. But in my personal experience, overall, I think that I've gotten more calm as time has gone on. But there's two sides of the same coin. I've noticed that as I get older, that I don't tolerate some things. I'm a little more quick. I'm a little more quick and a little more careless about how I say things or put the skids on things. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, when I was younger, I might have had a quicker temper, but I was a little more inhibited also. I was a little more afraid of what authority might do or what the consequences might be. Now that I'm just in my early 50s. So I'm not old, but I'm not a young man anymore either. And I found out that I just don't really hold back my tongue when I know that something isn't right. However, I am much more calm than that. I told the guy, I said, look, you can go down to the office and talk to them, but I would really suggest that you try to control your temper because they don't respond well to that. So it would behoove you to just, try to keep kind of calm. Yeah, I understand that. So I got to thinking about this, and I thought, I really, I just really hope that when I get to be that age, if I make it to that age, I hope that there's just not a whole lot that bothers me. But there's a lot to challenge us. And quite frankly, my greatest motivation for becoming more peaceable, more calm, not losing my temper, is because I just don't want to look stupid. I just don't want to look stupid, which is oftentimes what happens with people, is they can't think with a clear head. They're not really saying what's on their mind. And you, as the person who it's being perpetrated upon, it's really hard for you to tell. And then it's really hard not to respond to it the way they've put it out there. So anyway, those are just my thoughts today. As time, always try to keep yourself in check, and try not to be so angry so quick, because you're not going to think clearly. And as you roll through time, you just want to get better and better, don't you? You just want to get more. You just want to be able to handle things better. And quite frankly, I'm concerned about how I don't really care a lot. I'm very quick to open up my mouth now when I didn't used to be. So it's a double-edged sword. Maybe that's not the right analogy. That's what I'm thinking of at the moment. I suppose I'll come up with one better after I turn this video off. Yeah. So try to keep your anger in check. Try to get better. Try to be more calm. I mean, this is really simple stuff, but it's just what I've got to say today. It's what happened today, It's just funny what people will do. I have got stories upon stories about people that I have encountered on my job. I could make a whole channel just about the kind of customers I have to deal with. Almost on a daily basis. It's not as bad as it used to be because technology has kind of curbed some of that. But yeah, I've had a lot of years doing this, so I've got a lot of stories. Over this past week, we've been my family and I have been babysitting my oldest daughter's dog. It's a puppy. It's a pit bull puppy. Highly energetic, very, very strong, yet not quite housebroken. All the way. I have very little patience for that. If there's anything that can get my dander up, if there's anything that can make me angry quick, it's walking through my house and stepping in sopping carpet. No. That will unravel me very quickly. Oh yeah, it will, definitely will. So Listen, speaking of dogs, I read this little article. Listen to this. Knowing that spending time with dogs helps with anxiety and depression. See, I'm so upset about this dog. I can't even talk right. Hasn't helped me this week. Knowing that spending time with dogs help with anxiety and depression, researchers at the University of Basel, am I saying that right? Basel in Switzerland? Decided to investigate what happens in the human brain when we interact with a furry friend. Volunteers petted either a dog or a stuffed animal with a hot water bottle inside it, while a machine measured the subject's brain activity. Those who cuddled a real animal showed more activity in the prefrontal cortex, a brain region involved in social and emotional processes. This potentially therapeutic response continued even after the dog had left the room. Well, the dog is leaving the room tonight because my daughter is back from Chicago. We're returning her dog, and my feelings about that dog and how it made me feel will probably remain with me. But this gave me probably a great business idea. They're talking about, they petted either a dog or a stuffed animal with a hot water bottle inside it. Furry hot water bottles. Has anybody come up with that yet? Has anybody come up? Listen, that could be perfect. I don't even need a dog. This one's not going to pee all over the place unless it gets a puncture in the bladder. Well, that's not the right way to put that. That's what they call them, right? Hot water bottles are bladders, right? Listen, they just painted all sorts of ugly pictures. But, yeah. I mean, I think that people do have something like that for anxiety. People will sleep with them. I don't know. But let's just make dog water bottles. Cat water bottles. And that way, when you go on vacation, you just let the water out. No one has to come over and watch them. You don't have to pay for a kennel fee. No, nothing like that. All right. Yeah, that's what I've got. So when I came home today, my wife arrived shortly thereafter. I could tell when she walked in the door, she was really exhausted. So I asked her how her day went. She says, it was exhausting. Right. Okay. So she went into the room. She laid in the bed like she was going to take a nap. And I had changed my clothes into what I'm wearing now. And kitty cat's running around our room. Walking around our room, not running around. Gotta get the visual right. And so this cat, it's a newer cat we have. It's a stray. We adopted it. And I'm patting the cat. Well, I've learned that cats like to be, like they like their I would say their bottom, but they're like their back leg, the flank. They like to pat really. They like you to pat it really hard. Just pat, 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 pat. For some reason, all my cats like that. So I stopped petting that cat and started to walk out the door. My wife goes, "Aren't you forgetting something?" Now, usually when my wife does this, she's letting me. It's kind of a hint that you either need to come over here and rub my neck, scratch my back, or give me some kind of affection. That's how I read it. So I kind of sauntered on over to her side of the bed, and I started patting her bottom just like I did the cat, just being playful with her. Smack, 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 smack. And that look on her face was one of well, she wasn't amused. Obviously, this is not what she wanted. I go, oh, this is not what you want. And so I kind of hovered over her, just kind of hovered my whole body over her and I leaned in and I go, what do you want? And she goes, you left the closet door open. And I go, that's what you wanted? Yes. Okay. And I told her, I said, you crushed my soul. You just absolutely crushed my soul. Yeah, it's all in good humor, guys. Listen, don't get critical. She was laughing at me. She was laughing at me because she realized that I misunderstood her. In her mind, she was very clear. But I did not get angry. I did not get angry about it. I just let her know how disappointed I was. And as I walked out the door, I said, don't beg for me to come back, because you've had your chance. As you know how many women, do you know how many women would love for me to pat their bottom like that? But you know, I'm moving on now because I deserve better. She just continued to laugh at me. Well, that's the married life. It's not one it's not something I don't appreciate. It was all done in good humor, and if you can't face things like that in your marriage with humor, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. All right. That's what I had. That's all I have for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.